Good morning, everyone. This is Royce coming back at you with not a fast food fave for me, and not a fast food fave. This is a fancy food fave for my beloved grandma. You see, her 76th just passed this year, and I figure I would treat her and honor it by taking her to one of her favorite restaurants and then ordering the same food to try before you all. Behold, ba-ba-da-ba, the steak kebab with mushrooms and loaded baked potato from Texas Roadhouse. Yes, we're going to one of my favorite restaurants as well. And for the weirdest reason. Well, one, best steaks. They've got very tender, very very perfectly seasoned steak. And two, the mushrooms. My grandma and I are both lovers of the fungal delight. Sorry. Um, so good. Again, Hobbit I love these mushrooms. Anyway, my grandma likes the steak kebab because it's one of the cheaper options, but you still get a lot of steak, and you get vegetables with it. Here we can see the green and red bell pepper, some onion, and church tomorrow. Very well marinated, too. The seasoning on the kebab is a little different from the steak seasoning on the normal steak. Let's. I think it might actually be a marinade. They also have much bigger mushrooms here, which absorb a lot more than the marinade. But so my mom texted all the family earlier this week and said, "Hey, Grandma just wants money for her birthday." To which I'm like, "Okay." But then she texts me separately and says, "Actually, that's just for everyone else. Could you take Grandma or Emma and I out for her birthday?" And I'm like, "Okay." You know, gotta fill out my sonly duties. Filial piety, as they say. Um, And so I called Grandma 2 days ago and asked her where she wanted to go. And we shot some ideas back and forth. And it seemed very clear to me that she had her little heart set on Texas Roadhouse. Because she hasn't had a lot of meat lately because doctors want her to eat healthier, but she wants a cheat day. So I agree to take her to Texas Roadhouse. Mom drives, picks me up and we go. I gave Grandma a nice little card that says I had to go out and interact with people to buy this card. That shows you how much I love you. I swear, didn't they used to do the salt crust on the baked potato? But and we get to the restaurant and we get seated immediately. Well, almost immediately. There's not a lot of tomatoes in this. But I tell my grandma to order whatever she wants. And she gets this. Although she gets a blue cheese salad and mushrooms instead of the baked potato. But I didn't think the blue cheese salad would keep as well, so I got what she used to get. And then she also got one of those big margaritas. Mom got prime rib with a loaded sweet potato. And I got a small Fort Worth ribeye with a Caesar and mushrooms. Now, since Grandma wanted protein, I wanted to get a half rack of ribs for our appetizer. But Mom had her heart set on getting a blooming onion, or cactus blossom, they call it. Which is like, they don't even have... If you get the cactus blossom from Texas Roadhouse, you're missing out, because that's a subpar blooming onion. If I want a blooming onion, I'm going to Outback. If I want good steak, I'm going to Texas Roadhouse. Outback has the better fried food. Because they overseason everything. And our waitress is a delight. Spoiler alert, I tip her 30%. Which took my bill to $150. And before you all get mad at me, would you spend any less on your grandma's birthday meal? Or, insert parent. I think Grandma was still the cheapest. Well, not counting a margarita. Counting the margarita, I think it might have been pretty equitable. Because mine was like 25. Mom's was 25. We both got the 12 ounce of our respective cuts of beef. But my 12 ounce Fort Worth ribeye looked a lot dinkier than her 12 ounce um, prime rib. But mine was also a lot better. It was more tender, more juicy. Hers was dry and like it looked pink, but it also somehow managed to be overcooked. I don't know how that happened. Is that gray ring of death they talked about with smoking? I don't think you smoke prime rib though. Sorry, that's already gone. It was good. Uh, the marinade they use is so different from the steak seasoning. It's a lot less in your face and a lot sweeter. Well, mildly sweet. The steak seasoning is the same thing they use on the mushrooms, and it's amazing. Like, no notes. Um, but so, even after begging us to get the cactus blossom, my mom barely touches it, and I was already full from breakfast still. So we end up taking I end up taking 2/3 of it home, and that was last night's dinner. Yes, this was just reheated in the microwave, which honestly, it's amazing the steak didn't turn to rubber. The mushrooms got a little rubbery, but that's fine. That's also why the baked potato was a hand food for me. Um, but no, we're just, my mom accidentally drops her menu, and it kind of goes toward the waitress as it falls. And she says, well, I'm just going to just toss shit around, I guess. And I said, it's really sad. She's the designated driver. Because, I rode in the back, and Grandma's drinking a margarita. And my mom's SUV, like, it's one of those weird SUVs where it is styled as an SUV, but it's small enough where it could be considered a sedan, honestly. So I kind of have to sit in the back, otherwise I get uncomfortable. I need that leg room, and I need to lean the chair back for headspace. But no, the lady was just bursting out laughing because, we were having fun, and she was asking Grandma if she wanted to get up on the saddle and have us yell it's her birthday, like, they normally do for birthdays, and Grandma said no. And she said, are you sure? And I told the waitress, let's get a few more margaritas in her to see how amenable she is after that. Which also elicited a laugh. It was fun. Oh Lord. But yeah, Mom gave me some of her prime rib. And because it had been soaking in the syrupy juice from her baked potato, or from her loaded sweet baked potato, it tasted like ham, and I hated it. I ended up drowning it in. In in Heinz 57, which, like, I've never done that with a steak from Texas Roadhouse. Their steaks are usually so good. But my meal was fantastic, like, even if it was kind of a small cut, like, I had literally ordered a small cut. And it wasn't quite medium rare. It was a little too done from that, but it was still very tender and juicy and flavorful. So, again, 30% tip. And yes, beforehand it was 115 if you're doing your math at home. It's whatever. Grandma enjoyed her kebab, and then they took a bunch of food home. You see, Mom only eats one of her sides, so she ordered a salad for herself and the sweet baked potato to take home for Grandma's dinner. I also offered to send to send the bloomin' onion home for the boys, but they're like, no, you take it. Because apparently they don't think the boys would like a deep fried onion. Which, like, the problem with the bloomin' onion isn't that it's is the only problem, honestly, for me with the cactus blossom from Texas Roadhouse is that they don't get they don't get it as evenly coated and fried. The inside part is too crunchy, still has a bit of that like oniony bitter sourness to it. Like y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, and I ask for a pitcher of iced tea, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that." And I'm like, "Damn it." Okay, but she does do a very good job of keeping those lined up for me, because look, I was thirsty. It was hot out. I needed my Wawa, or is it Weewa? I don't know. And unsweetened, no lemon. I don't get why people like lemon in their iced tea. Because like tea's already bitter, like lightly bitter, so it feels like you're just adding sourness to the bitterness. But it was good. The tea was good. The food was good, except mom's prime rib. And like I've had their prime rib before. Their prime rib is usually very good. And even the au jus from this sucked. What I think was because we went so early in the day, that's the kind of thing where you have to kind of let it soak in its own juices for a while. I think, we're getting either the dregs of last night or the first cut of the day, where it's not quite as tender and juicy as it should be. There was some step in the process that we had gone beyond. Like Nostalgia Critics Top 11. Why 11? Because I like to go one step beyond. Sorry. Again, it's been, going on 8 years since I've stopped watching Doug. So, that's weird that I keep remembering random stuff from him. Let's see. Oh, what's funny though is the first time I ever had Texas Roadhouse was actually my grandma's birthday too. It was her 60th, and we went to uh, we went to Texas Roadhouse, and I ordered something that I didn't realize what it was. I Instead of a steak, I got like a chicken fried steak covered in gravy, covered in brown gravy, and I'm just like, oh, I made a mistake. But instead of sending it back, I just grinned and bared it and ate my food. I'm, let's see, so she was born in 47, so 60, that would have been 2007. Pretty even thing there. Was that 2007? That mean my parents would still be married. Oh, Lord, I'll just ask my dad if he remembers that, because I swear that was after my parents' divorce, but I can't remember. What was my girl was born in August 47, because, I got her the, I literally made sure when she was born so I could get the, I don't know if any of you know, how many of y'all I've told this to, but for my grandma's birthday a year or two ago, I got her she really loves the work of Norman Rockwell. So I got her a Saturday Evening Post from the month she was born. Now, because it's a weekly publication, I couldn't get the exact day, but c'est la vie que sera sera. And that's hung up in her living room. Funny story, there's also an article about the Israel-Palestine conflict in it to show you how long that shit's been going on. But no, Texas Roadhouse is just a nice, fun place, It's kind of last vestige of the chintzy era of dining, where you'd go to a place that's full of tchotchkes stapled to the wall, like Joe's Crab Shack or TGI Fridays, and you'd order decent chain food and, have a good time. It feels like the only remnants of that era are like Texas Roadhouse, Cracker Barrel, and I'm not sure if there's any others left. Like, the only Joe's Crab Shack left in the Midwest is in Chicago. That's insane. I guess you have a couple of Red Lobsters left, but Red Lobster's kind of gone the same way Outback has, where they've kind of stepped away from the chintzy aesthetic and are trying to become more sterile, the way McDonald's did. Which I hate that. I think they call it like the Starbucksification or something. I can't remember. Like they mention it in The World's End. But like, let your restaurants be weird, even if they are chains. Let them have local flavors seeping in. You know, like the Texas Roadhouse I went to with my dad and brother last May was in Des Moines and had a bunch of like Hawkeyes and Cyclones merch and, you know, referencing stuff around Iowa. This one referenced stuff around, well, you know. Anyway, uh, if you had to pick something, honestly, I only if you're low sodium would I recommend the kebab. Otherwise, I would go with the actual steaks because Texas Roadhouse has a much better seasoning than pretty much every other steakhouse, especially chain steakhouse. Then again, it's been a while since I've had a Longhorn. Maybe next time I find myself in Council Bluffs one day. Oh, this goes out to especially members. I wanted to do back to school as a film foodie and do the appetizer sandwich. You know, the deviled eggs, spanakopita, meatballs, all on a big roll, on a big hoagie. Unfortuitously, it turns out that none of the places in my town sell spanakopita anymore. I even tried the various gyro shops to see if they had spinach rolls. They do not. So, shout me out some food that you associate with going back to school. And maybe I'll try to get some. Y'all have a good one. This is Royce Miller. I'm outie.